Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. I'm Lewis Cipher. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocate Debate Club. I've tried filming this video several times with multiple different frustrations involved, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit angry. But I don't like doing second takes, and this is officially my fourth, for a subject that's been important to me since I was a kid. See, bathroom etiquette, oddly enough, was about the first subject I ever got politically interested in, far before it was in the mainstream. Back when I was a kid, I didn't understand why in a society where everything was equal and we were all about breaking down the borders in between the genders. I mean, growing up in the 90s, this was just becoming a big trend, but especially where I lived, it was already ongoing, and I wondered why we had separate bathroom facilities. See, I understood enough about the logistics of building to understand that it would be cheaper and easier if everyone used the same set of bathrooms and they were all just made in one line together. However, when I asked about this, I, in my opinion, wasn't given a proper answer. My mom's line was always basically the same. It would be variations of, well, women don't want men watching them pee. I'm not sure who let the boat get filled up. I'll have to find out who was out here last. Anyway, though. And my problem with this as a kid growing up in the 90s was, well, okay, this is clearly a sexual thing. Women don't want men being aroused, being interested in them, is how she'd put it as well. And this brought up the subject of gay men. I would ask her, okay, well, so what about guys who don't want guys watching them pee or getting interested in them in the bathroom? Do we then need to have, or girls who don't want girls looking at them? I think I always brought up the subject of guys when I was a kid because, well, just for different reasons, homophobia against guys was a kind of popular thing in the 90s, but this wasn't even homophobia. It was just more along the lines of, okay, well, if that's the reasoning why girls want their own bathrooms, doesn't this apply just as logically why straight and gay people would need their own bathrooms? And she pointed out, well, but then we're, spending way too much resources on bathrooms. Like, there's no way we can just keep giving every identity group their own bathroom. But there's reasons why men and women need separate bathrooms. Or, men are more likely to, and she would tell me this when I was younger, would be more likely to, well, abuse women in the bathroom, as studies now find. However, she also taught me with a very hard line that the genders were to be treated equally. And this was a case where the mask slipped, I suppose, in that she was unable to do so because back then my mom still recognized basic social biologies, and she knew enough to know that putting men and women together in enclosed spaces, especially ones that are private in nature like that, is generally speaking a bad idea. Not only do we have different biologies with different biological needs, but there's something in the human psyche that, well, studies have shown. Just look at the ones in Britain recently with the bathhouses or the showers at public pools. Abuse increases if we put biologically male and female people together in the same private spaces, such as bathrooms, where there's not exactly a precedent set, but, we're all there to, on one level or another, for the most part, play with our junk. I mean, we gotta go pee. We've got an added degree of sexualization that isn't there in other private settings just because of the nature of what we go there to do. There we go. So, growing up, I always believed in the idea of purely gender-neutral bathrooms being the solution, because if we keep giving different ideologies different bathrooms simply because they don't feel safe around one another, which is what I'd been led to believe was the problem, there's no end to it, as we're now finding out. This is a problem that I was almost prophetic about. I mean, I predicted this 2 decades ago, and had talked about several times with friends and family, since all of whom thought that I was being completely ridiculous. I've even been accused of the slippery slope fallacy by people on both the left and the right when I've talked about bathrooms becoming an issue of public concern, but here we are. Now to get to the part that makes me angry, because a lot of you, I'm sure, are aware of a lot of the bathroom shenanigans that have been going on recently in public legal code. However, recently speaking, a group of schools transitioned their bathrooms to be gender neutral, which means anyone can use any bathroom and girls and boys are going to the bathroom together. So far, to my knowledge, there hasn't been any signs of increased abuse going on because of this, especially I think because, schools are relatively safe. I mean, I know a lot goes on in schools, but kids are on their best behavior to a certain degree because they know that there are authority figures around. And so the negative effect that we've seen in other areas hasn't so far been shown there. However, girls are skipping school and staying home, specifically when they're on their periods, so that they don't face period shame. And also at other times just because they're afraid to go to the bathroom with boys. Now, I don't think they should be. I think that as long as society is functioning properly and, we have methods of removing the predators from our ranks, that ultimately speaking, gender-neutral bathrooms shouldn't be a problem. That's what I've always felt. But study after study shows that they are, and that bathrooms for men and women, keeping them separate, is generally speaking proven to be a good thing. So these girls, if they're paying attention, are being taught that it is at times, or certainly can be, dangerous for girls and boys to use the same bathrooms in their school without their parents' permission, by the way, which has pissed off a bunch of the parents, is forcing them to do so. This, it's not how a public or private school system should work. The parents should have, ultimately speaking, at least some sort of say in any big change, especially one which has been proven to potentially have negative impacts on female students and is already having unexpected negative impacts on some female students. So I think the solution here is really quite simple, even though the problem has been angering me recently. The solution is, Tim Pool put it, maybe we can have men's bathrooms, women's bathrooms, and one gender-neutral bathroom anyone can use that locks. I don't know if this is different in other states, but most places already have that with a family bathroom. Schools would be one of the few exceptions. So adding a locked gender-neutral bathroom alongside the men's and women's isn't that bad of an idea. Ultimately speaking, having a third bathroom labeled other as a catch-all for anyone who doesn't identify with their naturally born sex or gender would potentially solve this problem, but it's going to cost more money, especially in all of the remodels, when it seems like another solution is if everyone just used the bathrooms that were made for their private parts. So, if you're a pre-op trans girl, then sure, using the boys' restroom might seem like society is somehow holding you back from expressing your true self, but the fact is you still have a penis, whether or not you really want it in the long run, and that comes with advantages and disadvantages, as most people with penises know and can tell you. But one of the advantages is shorter lines in the bathroom thanks to urinals, which really is just something that's hard to apply to women's restrooms. It's a biological difference that give men an advantage in this field and a disadvantage in others. It gives us a soft spot you can kick there, but we're a little bit faster going to the bathroom. It's a lot easier to tell when a guy is having awkward thoughts in public, but, we get urinals. So, just, I guess, live with your biology, learn to love and live with who you are, and if you're planning on getting a surgery eventually, sure. And, I guess requiring people to use bathrooms based on their genitalia, it doesn't exactly help because there's no way for us to really check. Just like there's no way for us to stop a passable transgender person of using the bathroom that they pass in. That trans girl, if they're passable, is going to get odd looks going into the boys' restroom. But if the only place that this is really a problem is in high schools, because most other places already have a family bathroom option, then really everyone around you is probably already going to know your situation, is going to be aware, and is going to make fun of you or not for it regardless of what bathroom you use. Plus, it all boils down to economics. There are lots of social issues that affect a certain percentage of society, and we should definitely pay attention to them. But above all of those come issues that affect all of society, and one of those is economics. So if something is going to be a significant cost just to potentially help the, feelings of a group of people, it seems like something that rather than paying for, we should probably just move past. However, until the studies were done showing me that, men and women might need separate bathrooms because of added abuse, I had always believed in gender neutral just being the answer because, if we're being taught that men and women are equal, why should they have separate bathrooms? So for the intersectionalists who believe that everyone is equal outside of the levels of oppression that they are observing, then why are you arguing for trans bathrooms rather than gender neutral bathrooms for everyone? I know some people are, but it's just become silly. It's causing children to miss school, and education is incredibly important. So when something starts damaging the futures of the children of our nation, it pisses me off. And that's exactly what we're seeing with these schools of their own volition switching to gender-neutral bathrooms to bow to a very vocal minority of, less than 8% of the population. 8% of the population believes in intersectional progressivism in general, and a lower percentage than that believe in each individual issue within that. You can look up the surveys if you don't believe me. Polls have been done. And I know polls aren't perfect, but this has been researched fairly extensively now. So it's fair to say that less than 8% of the country wants any sort of change to the structure of our bathrooms. And making a financial change that affects all of us based on that minority seems ridiculous. A few local buildings undergoing remodeling, I forget which state this was now. Anyway, they've removed urinals from the men's restrooms, making the restrooms on both sides the same. So they're adding more stalls to the men's restrooms instead of urinals so that things are equal between the two. This will just slow down the efficiency of the men's room. If you're looking for ways to intentionally curb the efficiency of men in your society in order to level the playing field with women, since it is a little bit easier for us to go to the bathroom, I guess that works. However, it does seem like you're intentionally holding men back to forward women because they need the help. So this is either female supremacy and that you believe the sexes are equal, but you want women to have an advantage over men, in that, you get bathrooms designed to your needs, but we don't. We get bathrooms designed to your needs. Or it's admitting that the sexes are different and that women in this one particular instance in society are slightly held back in comparison to men, biologically speaking. Does this mean men are superior to women? No. However, it means that when it comes to rapidly going to the bathroom, we are superior to women. And I know that there's always poos, but that depends more on your digestive tract and diet than anything else. This is just a pure structural issue that makes things different for women and men. And no matter what kind of makeup or dress you wear, unless you've undergone a gender change surgery, you're still going to be structured for a particular bathroom no matter what society thinks. So maybe that's the way that we should look at these things. These bathrooms are built for our biologies, for our penises or vaginas. While there might be some arguments that a certain percentage of abuse could increase in female bathrooms when trans women who've undergone surgery are using them, the percentage of people who are trans is so small that the percentage of increase in this abuse would be most likely negligible if it happened at all. And I kind of don't think that it would, for a few reasons. So maybe we should just use the bathrooms that our genitals push us towards. Maybe rather than being gendered men and women bathrooms, they should be bathrooms for penis or vagina, which are kind of bad words you can't say around kids. But, if we normalize the words penis and vagina a little bit, and that was what was on the bathroom signs, I don't think we should really do this, but really people just use the bathroom that is most convenient and easiest for your biological needs. And if you go through surgery to have those biological needs changed, use the different bathroom. But, shaving your beard, putting on makeup and a dress doesn't change the fact that the urinal's the best way to pee if you're looking for efficiency and you have a penis. So I think the bathroom shenanigans have gone too far. As a kid, I thought we needed gender-neutral bathrooms only, and as I've grown up, I've been convinced that male and female bathrooms are probably a good thing due to research I don't entirely understand yet, but either way, it's clearly one of these two options. Adding a third bathroom, or dare I say a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, giving every identity their own bathroom, which is where we're headed if we start taking this the road that a lot of progressives are pushing it towards, is just too expensive when it comes to the remodeling, and there's no end in it. So we can either go to gender-neutral bathrooms, except that there will be a slight increase in abuse, specifically for the most part towards women, and work socially towards solving the underlying problems that cause that abuse to remove it, so that we can have the most efficient and cost-effective bathrooms for everyone, gender-neutral ones. This will mean accepting some abuse, especially towards young girls, which is hard for me to do. The other option is to accept that we have biological differences and differences in our needs, that this gives men a slight efficiency edge when it comes to this one standard section of life, and move on with the male and female and family bathroom options that we've used literally my entire life with basically no issues until modern ideology brought up something that, well, I hadn't heard discussed in more than 10 years since the last time I'd made it an issue. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'm Lewis Cipher. Thanks as always for watching the Devil's Advocate Debate Club. I've had a couple video requests coming up. One on the subject of gender dysphoria. I think I did a video on this already. I'll go back through and look. If not, it's definitely a subject worth touching on, and specifically it was requested that I talk about the concept of rapid onset gender dysphoria in response to my recent rapid onset environmental dysphoria video. Just to clarify, dysphoria is the word that I'd meant there because I think environmental extremists are experiencing a new anxiety disorder that I was attempting to coin. And this is environmental extremists on both sides, the extreme pushers and the extreme deniers. There's also been a request for a video on basic self-care, how you can and why you should take care of yourself in life, which really got me thinking, because it was kind of a silly subject for a video, but one I was willing to do. But actually, I think I might have some important things, or at least some interesting things to say on the subject. So those videos, as well as the Promise book review, are coming, and I might do one before them on how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants you to eat babies, because I'm just dying to get that video out. Anyway, that was quite a bit of a PS. I'll let you guys go. See you on the other side.